Hi! Each of us goes through moments in life when everything seems to go wrong. Obstacles appear one after another, and a thought begins to sprout in your mind. Maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe I should give up. If you've ever felt something like this, I want to tell you the story of Elon Musk, a man who built his empire on the ruins of failures, criticism, and doubt. This is not a story about luck falling from the sky. It's a story about resilience, belief in a vision, and the courage to take risks. Write "change" in the comments, and let's begin today's lesson. Elon Musk has repeatedly said, if something is important enough, you should do it, even if the odds of success are low. This philosophy is best seen in the story of SpaceX. In its early years, the company faced a series of failures. Falcon 1, SpaceX's first rocket, caused Musk more headaches than he could have imagined. The first launch attempt? A complete failure. The rocket exploded. The second attempt? Another disaster. The third? The same. Imagine this moment. You only have one shot left, the last of your funds, your reputation hanging by a thread, and people around you are saying it's time to give up. Wouldn't you hesitate? Musk not only invested all his money into SpaceX, but also risked the future of Tesla, his second company. Many would have backed out, but he decided to try one more time. I think the biggest mistake people make is that they give up too quickly, he once said in an interview. In 2008, the fourth launch of Falcon 1 was a success. The rocket reached orbit, and SpaceX signed a $1.6 billion contract with NASA. Was it worth the risk? Undoubtedly. Was it easy? Absolutely not. This story carries a profound lesson because it shows that failures are an integral part of the road to success. It's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you choose to get up. Elon Musk openly admitted, "In business, there's no failure as long as you don't give up. Failure is just part of the learning process." Each failure of SpaceX brought valuable lessons that enabled the company to make improvements and ultimately achieve success. Think about your life. Maybe you have a project that seems too difficult to complete. Maybe you're trying to start your own business but can't find clients. Or perhaps your goal is to improve your health, but every attempt ends in a return to old habits. Whatever it is, you need to remember that the greatest achievements are born out of struggles. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Like Musk, Edison understood that every obstacle is a step toward success. Criticism from others can feel like salt rubbed into a wound, but Musk knows how to handle it. He once said, "If you don't do something because you're afraid of criticism, you'll never do anything significant." When Tesla began producing its first model, skeptics claimed electric cars were just a niche. When SpaceX announced plans to colonize Mars, people said it was absurd. Despite this, Musk consistently pursued his visions, knowing that criticism is the price you pay for innovation. Boldly taking risks is another lesson we can learn from him. Musk sold his previous companies, Zip2 and PayPal, for hundreds of millions of dollars. He could have comfortably retired and lived in luxury, but he decided to invest everything into SpaceX, Tesla, and Solar City. He knew he was risking his entire fortune, but he believed his visions were worth it. As he says, "I don't take risks for the sake of risk. I take risks because I see that the reward is worth the effort." A key element of Musk's success is also his ability to learn from mistakes. SpaceX's failures, failed rocket landings or explosions, were opportunities for him to draw conclusions. After every setback, Musk's team analyzed what went wrong and made improvements. Thanks to this, SpaceX not only survived, but became a leader in the space industry. Elon Musk says, "Your ability to adapt and learn from failures is one of the most important factors for success." In your life, there may also be moments when you feel like the obstacles are too great. But it is precisely these obstacles that shape us the most. Musk reminds us that success is not accidental. It requires determination, persistence, and a willingness to take risks again. It might not work, but if you don't try, "It certainly never will," he once said. Remember, at any moment, you can take a step toward your dreams. The fourth launch of Falcon 1 might never have happened if Musk had listened to critics or been overcome by fear. Your fourth attempt might be just ahead of you. Are you ready to take the risk one more time? Resilience in the face of difficulty is not a trait you're born with. It's a skill you build every day. You can develop it too, step by step, lesson by lesson. Remember, persistence is what separates those who dream from those who achieve those dreams. Curiosity is the key to innovation, progress, and success. From a young age, Elon Musk exhibited a deep fascination with the world, and his relentless questioning and drive for knowledge shaped the man who has transformed the face of modern technology. As Musk himself once said, "Curiosity is the greatest gift one can imagine. If you stop asking questions, you stop growing." Even as a child, Elon stood out from his peers. At the age of 10, he encountered his first computer, the Commodore VIC-20, which cost a small fortune at the time. But for Musk, it wasn't just a toy, it was a tool. Instead of playing games, young Elon began programming, teaching himself entirely from the included manual, a challenging task in those days. Before long, he created his first computer game, Blaster, a simple shooter inspired by his favorite science fiction books. He was just 12 years old. He sold the game for $500, a significant sum for a child. But more importantly, he had already learned to turn his curiosity and knowledge into tangible achievements. Musk's family, recognizing his enthusiasm, began calling him a living encyclopedia. This nickname stemmed from his obsession with knowledge. Elon had literally read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica cover to cover, absorbing information on every topic imaginable. As he admitted, it was his favorite pastime while other kids played outside. He was convinced that the more he knew, the better he could understand the world, enabling him to ask even better questions. I've always been fascinated by the question, why? Surface answers weren't enough for me. I wanted to know everything, from how atoms work to how the universe began and where it's heading, he shared in an interview. This relentless pursuit of answers also led him to science fiction literature, which shaped his vision of the future. Musk was captivated by novels such as The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams and Foundation by Isaac Asimov. From these books, he drew ideas that he would later bring to life. The vision of colonizing Mars, creating electric cars, or launching a global satellite internet, all these concepts were rooted in his youthful readings. "Science fiction should stop being fiction," he once remarked in an interview. When he encountered his first mentor, Musk realized that curiosity wasn't just about acquiring knowledge, but also about asking the right questions. His high school math teacher recalled that Elon didn't just want to know the solution to a problem. He wanted to understand why that approach worked. This relentless drive to grasp the principles behind outcomes rather than just the results later became a cornerstone of his business success. Curiosity is the beginning of every breakthrough, Musk asserts. Curiosity also led him to independently study physics and engineering long before he began formal studies. His fascination with space, stemming from childhood dreams, later became the impetus for founding SpaceX. Musk wanted to know why humanity had halted space exploration after landing on the moon, and what could be done to redirect its gaze toward the stars. "I started wondering why NASA didn't have plans to colonize Mars, and since they didn't, I decided to act," he recalled. However, curiosity wasn't always a blessing for him. In his youth, Musk often felt isolated because his peers didn't share his passion for learning and experimentation. He admitted that he feared his overactive mind might lead people to see him as a misfit. "I thought I was crazy because I saw the world differently from everyone else," he confessed years later. But instead of suppressing his curiosity, he decided to use it as an advantage. Curiosity allowed him not only to change industries, but also to inspire others to act. When he began working on Tesla Motors, he was convinced that electric cars could become mainstream if people understood their potential. That's why he actively participated in designing the Model S, not just as an investor, but as an engineer who wanted to grasp every technical detail. As he once said, "If you want to change the world, you first need to understand how it works. You have to be curious." This trait makes Musk one of the few leaders who still personally engages with the technical aspects of his projects. SpaceX engineers recall that Musk often independently studied technical problems, spending nights analyzing data and devising new solutions. His relentless curiosity ultimately allowed his companies to succeed where others had failed. Elon Musk's curiosity has inspired millions worldwide. His life proves that asking questions and seeking answers are not just tools of science, but also keys to transforming reality. As Douglas Adams wrote in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, questions are always more important than answers. Elon Musk has made this philosophy the foundation of his actions, pushing boundaries and changing the world before our very eyes. But does curiosity always lead to success? What happens when the questions become too complex and the answers seem out of reach? Thinking big is a trait that sets Elon Musk apart from other entrepreneurs. But it's also something anyone can apply to their own life, whether it's building rockets or making everyday decisions. Musk has always believed in striving for something greater, even if it seems unrealistic at first. As he put it, if something is important enough, you should do it, even if the odds of success are low. When Elon founded SpaceX, many believed that attempting to enter the spaceflight market was doomed to fail. It was an endeavor requiring massive financial, technological, and human resources. For decades, space exploration had been dominated solely by government agencies like NASA. Yet Musk saw something others didn't: space as an open field of opportunity. He focused on reusable rockets to drastically reduce costs, betting that if his vision succeeded, the world would never be the same. People don't realize how much can be achieved if we stop limiting ourselves to what we already know, he said. For many of us, this approach might seem distant, but is it really? Imagine you're facing a task that feels overwhelming. It could be changing jobs, starting your own business, or even breaking old habits. Thinking big doesn't mean you have to plan a mission to Mars right away. It might simply mean looking at your goals with a long-term perspective. Instead of getting discouraged by early challenges, consider what you could truly achieve if anything were possible. Tesla offers an equally powerful example. When Musk took over the company, electric cars were considered niche products, seen by most as impractical and unappealing. Many investors advised him against getting involved, arguing the market would never be ready for such a shift. But Elon looked further ahead. His goal wasn't just to create another luxury gadget for the wealthy. It was to make electric cars accessible to the masses. The Tesla Model 3, designed for a broader audience, was born from this vision. It's not just about the car, but about changing how people think about energy and its impact on the environment, he explained. For everyday people, the lesson is simple. Even if you're starting small, it's important to keep your ultimate goal in mind. You might dream of writing a book but feel overwhelmed by the amount of work involved. Maybe you want to change careers but fear it's too complicated. Thinking big doesn't mean doing everything at once. It means knowing where you want to go and being willing to make consistent progress, even when the path seems long. Another Musk example that highlights thinking big is Starlink, a project to bring satellite internet to every corner of the globe. At first, it seemed abstract, even unfeasible, given the costs and technological complexity. But Musk approached the problem with engineering precision, analyzing step by step how to reduce the costs of manufacturing satellites and launching them into orbit. Today, Starlink operates in hundreds of locations worldwide, bringing internet access to remote areas where it was previously unavailable. Thinking big has its challenges. It requires courage, vision, and a willingness to fail. Yet this lesson is universal. Whether it's pursuing the dream of owning your own home, advancing your career, or making time for your passions, it's worth remembering that limitations often exist only in our minds. Musk once said, "People are accustomed to small changes. They're afraid of challenges that require them to rethink their approach. But those are the most important ones. But what if thinking big takes you to a place where you're risking everything? Is it worth taking that leap, knowing you might fail? Could the courage to fall be the key to winning? The courage to embrace failure is one of the cornerstones of Elon Musk's success. As he often repeats, failure is an option. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. For many, the very thought of failure is paralyzing. Fear of what others might say, the worry of losing stability or reputation often holds people back from taking risks. Musk flips this logic, treating failure not as a final defeat, but as a crucial part of the learning process. One of the most well-known examples of his determination is the story of SpaceX's early rocket tests. Falcon 1, the company's first rocket, aimed to prove that a private enterprise could launch payloads into orbit more cheaply than government agencies. The first attempt in 2006 ended in disaster. The rocket exploded seconds after launch. The second attempt also failed. The third launch, expected to be a breakthrough, likewise ended in an explosion. By this point, SpaceX was on the brink of bankruptcy, and many experts believed the company wouldn't survive. Yet Musk risked everything, his savings, his reputation, and Tesla's future, by funding a fourth launch. In 2008, Falcon 1 finally reached orbit, securing a $1.6 billion contract with NASA and saving SpaceX. For most of us, that level of risk might seem abstract. However, the lesson from this story is simple. Every failure is an opportunity to learn. If you're learning to cook and your dish turns out badly, it's not a reason to stop trying. If you're aiming for a promotion at work and get turned down, it's a signal to evaluate what you can improve. Musk frequently emphasizes that SpaceX's failures were critical because they allowed his team to identify mistakes and implement improvements. Every failure is a lesson. The key is not to make the same mistake twice, he stated in an interview. He applied a similar mindset to Tesla's challenges. In 2017, the company faced what Musk called production hell while attempting to mass-produce the Model 3. Manufacturing facilities struggled to keep up, customers waited for months, and investors began losing confidence. Musk personally got involved, sleeping on the factory floor and working 16-hour days to solve the problems. In moments like these, you can't give up because everything depends on you, he said. Thanks to his persistence, Tesla survived the crisis and became the leader in the electric vehicle market. For all of us, the takeaway is clear. Failure isn't the end. It's a step on the path to success. It's worth changing the way we think about mistakes, seeing them as lessons that bring us closer to our goals. If you've failed to stick to a savings plan, start again with a better strategy. If you're learning a new language and making mistakes, remember that every error is a step toward fluency. SpaceX's failed Falcon 9 landings are another example of Musk's willingness to embrace failure. The attempts to land rockets precisely on an ocean platform repeatedly ended in failure. Rockets toppled, exploded, or crashed. Despite this, SpaceX didn't give up. Each failure was analyzed with engineering precision. Eventually, they succeeded. Falcon 9 landed upright on a platform. This breakthrough revolutionized spaceflight, reducing costs and opening new possibilities. Does failure always mean loss? Musk believes it does only if you fail to learn from it. His life is full of examples proving that the most important thing is having the courage to try again. But what happens when the next risk puts not just a company's future, but the person behind it on the line? Will be able to rise to the challenges still ahead? Every failure in Elon Musk's life demonstrates that the key to success isn't just learning from setbacks, but also having the resilience to try again with full commitment. This approach can be applied to everyday life, no matter the scale of the challenge. Whether it's a failed business venture, an exam you didn't pass, or a project at work that didn't go as planned, it's essential to remember that each of these moments is an opportunity to grow. Imagine a situation where you're trying to start a new project, but you face obstacles at every turn. Perhaps clients aren't responding to your proposals, costs are higher than expected, and your team isn't working as effectively as it should. In such moments, you might feel discouraged and ready to give up. But these moments are crucial. Musk once said, "The key is to stick to your vision, but be ready to adapt." If something isn't working, don't be afraid to try a different approach. You can analyze what went wrong, revise your plan, and try again. This lesson also applies to smaller, everyday challenges. For instance, if you're trying to adopt healthier habits, like regular exercise or a better diet, but keep falling back into old routines, it doesn't mean you should give up. Instead, approach it differently. Find new strategies that are more realistic and manageable for you. As Musk puts it, there's no failure until you stop trying. The setbacks faced by SpaceX and Tesla became the foundation of their later success. Musk teaches us that every difficulty, every obstacle, is part of the journey, not its end. In fact, these moments shape us the most. Rather than avoiding risks, it's worth embracing them, knowing that each failure can bring us closer to our goal. Just as Musk didn't give up after rocket explosions and financial crises, we too can keep trying, even when the path seems tough. We all have our rocket explosions, moments when everything seems to fall apart. But what we do after these failures defines us more than the failure itself. You can get back up, analyze the situation, and try again, knowing it's just one step on the path to something greater. Musk sums it up succinctly: the biggest mistake is giving up before you even really begin. Think about your own challenges. Maybe it's a project you're trying to develop, or perhaps it's a relationship that requires more effort than you anticipated. Failures are an inherent part of any attempt, but it's up to you how you use them. Will you learn from them and try again? Elon Musk shows us that it's worth it, because even after the greatest struggles, success can be achieved, success that once seemed impossible.